both about 6'2" apiece. I think that you have to keep Lillard, and I think you got to move off McCollum and get a bigger wing that can defend and guard, and actually will be a threat scoring wise. There were times when with Hark, you notice Farouk Amino, Al Farouk Amino didn't even play hardly
Yeah.
because he was no offensive threat. Harkless, no offensive threat. They'd get the ball around 50 feet of the basket and they'd make crazy passes or look to throw back out to the perimeter. Man, you're not beating Golden State like that. There was no threats on the court. It was absolutely insane. The Portland Trailblazers, I mean, they were dogs. It's so disheartening to watch, and I had to sit there and watch that crap. I watched Myers Leonard hit a lot of threes, and then I watched him. He just took up space on defense. He absolutely, I don't know, it was the most egregious thing that I've ever seen besides Danny Green leaving LeBron James in the 2013 finals to give Miami Heat the game, the championship. Danny Green just went to go snowbird. That's what Myers Leonard basically did. Myers Leonard from Portland basically did the entire time he was on the court on defensively. It's a pathetic performance by Portland. Golden State toyed with him. Portland actually led for 51% of the series and still lost in a sweep. I've never seen that before. I don't remember seeing that before. It's a joke. Portland toyed with them like they toyed with Houston last year
Yeah.
in game in with that, but that thing went to 7 because they toyed with Houston a little too much because Houston could shoot the ball a lot better, and play a defense a lot better, obviously. The, Golden State's ridiculous about turning it off and on. They basically let Portland go down, let go up 15, and go, we'll start playing now. We'll pick it up. You can do that to a Portland team. You can do that to a lot of teams. You will not be able to do that to the Milwaukee Bucks or Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors. That will not happen. That can't. That I know that won't happen because the defensive players on the court for Milwaukee are too good, and the defensive players for Toronto are too good. Toronto's going to have a hard time scoring against Golden State. I don't think Milwaukee will have that struggle because Bud's system, Coach Bud's system, is it's a passing game system, and people will get open shots. I mean, Golden State can probably be favored to win the series, obviously, but they're going to have a really hard time in the Eastern Conference Finals. Playing the Portland Trailblazers did not prepare the Golden State Warriors to what they're going to see in the NBA Finals. There's going to be times when Draymond Green and Kevin Durant. Did you see them yell at the refs this series? Did you? Or you didn't see Kevin Durant hardly at all, but
Yeah.
did you see Draymond Green yelling at the refs and Stephen Curry complaining a lot?
Yes.
No, because they were terrible. You
Yeah.
will see them in the next series. Portland, the Golden State Warriors will go back to their complaining, whiny baby self in the finals. They'll like, he's holding me, he's touching me. You watch because Milwaukee and Toronto play really good defense.
Yeah. Just to add to your point there, just a tad bit, I think Golden State is going to try to toy with Toronto or the Bucks still. So that is the only way this series will be a series is because Golden State will toy with them just a little bit. Probably games 2 and game 3, they will learn that they cannot toy with them as much, and so they will turn it up for game 5 and game 6, and just make it a 6 game series more than likely. Just depending on who do they play. I think if they play the Bucks, it'll be a 6 game series. If they play the Raptors, it'll be a 7 game series. Just because, like, I think the Raptors match them up a little bit more after watching the Raptors and Bucks play. 3 games so far. So really intrigued to watch this final games. As you said, starts May 28th, I believe you said it. Like, it starts. So going to be great times over there. Uh, so let's go ahead and move on here to the Toronto's Bucks series that we have been alluding to.
Yeah,
They do play tonight. Milwaukee does lead the series 2-1 in this game 4 matchup tonight on TNT at 8:30. First of all, who do you got winning this game?
I have Toronto winning this game, and I'm saying that reluctantly because I really want now Milwaukee just to hurry up and win this thing.
Yeah.
Um, because you got they need as much rest. Um, well, maybe they don't need as much rest. They need rest too, as the Warriors. Warriors a little older team, but yeah, I kind of just want Milwaukee to hurry up and end this thing. The final start May 30th on a Thursday night. no, regardless of what happens in this series between Milwaukee and Toronto. But it's possible. Kawhi Leonard is that man. He's that guy. He is, Michael Jordan esque. I mean, Kobe Bryant stuff. You know what I mean? He could be the stuff of legends, to be honest. And he could pull 3 more games out of his hat. So this thing could go 7 or 6 at least. So I don't think that'll happen. I still think Kawhi Leonard's going to be really good, but I'm hoping now Milwaukee wins this thing tonight and just wins this thing in 5. But I don't think so. I see Toronto. I see Kawhi Leonard, doing his thing tonight and winning the game tonight. Man, Kawhi Leonard is unbelievable. I mean, he guarded Giannis. And when he guarded Giannis, I think Giannis was like 1 of 9 from the field. And then Kawhi puts in 36 himself or whatever it was and just takes control of the game. He's that guy. Okay? He's the best player in the NBA. Golden State doesn't have that guy. Like, they don't have a guy as good as Kawhi Leonard. They've got really good players, Hall of Famers, but Kawhi Leonard he's in another stratosphere where you can guard Giannis Antetokounmpo and then go back and hit 36 yourself. You think any of the Warriors can do that? No,
not at all.
So yeah, I mean, Draymond Green looked like Draymond Green looked like looked like LeBron James against Portland, without the athleticism, without the explosiveness. But he's not Kawhi Leonard. He could. Let me tell you something. Draymond Green will guard Giannis. He might give him some fits, but he's not going to come back on the other end and score on Giannis. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, Kawhi Leonard is that guy. So we'll see what happens tonight. I mean, it's insane. Milwaukee is 22-1 after losses. So I mean, it's hard to pick this game. I mean, I think Toronto's going to win because they're at home and Kawhi Leonard is that guy.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't shock me at all if Milwaukee came back and won this game tonight. So we'll see what happens. I'll pick Toronto because of Kawhi Leonard, but I don't want that to happen. I want Milwaukee to hurry up and win this series, get some rest, and just wait on Golden State and then beat Golden State. Because I think Milwaukee can beat Golden State without Kevin Durant. Now, with Kevin Durant, I'll probably pick the Warriors because with Kevin Durant, the Warriors are just completely just unbelievable. I mean, they're already really good without him. The offense is moving free-flowing.
Yeah.
Draymond Green looks like he's got a pep in his step. Actually, he doesn't look like he has a pep in his step. He does.
They look rejuvenated.
Yeah. I mean, and so Kevin Durant should be sitting at home going, wow. But that being said, he can say, well, all he wants. That's not going to beat Milwaukee last night. What you saw the Warriors do last night will not beat Milwaukee. No, because
you're right.
The Portland Trailblazers don't have a 6'11" guy in the post like Greek Freak. They don't have the 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" shooters and scorers like Milwaukee does. So that Portland struggles because they have 2 6'2" guards and nobody else. Now the 6'2" guards are special, but you in the playoffs you get exposed, and Golden State exposed the Portland Trailblazers last night for having 2 6'2" all-stars. It's not going to win you championships. The last time a short backcourt won a championship like that was Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah's like 6'1", Dumars is 6'3". But that's because they had Dennis Rodman playing defense and grabbing rebounds. John Sally was in his heyday. They could go down to James Edwards in the block. Mark Aguirre, Adrian Dantley. Because those guys had a lot of help in scoring from other places.
Right.
So Portland doesn't have that. And again, I really wish. I don't think Denver would have won. I don't think the Spurs would have won versus the Warriors. But man, it would have been so much more competitive defensively. I mean, the Warriors just got to wherever spot they wanted to on the court, and then they would have had the Warriors would have had some trouble with Jokic. They wouldn't have been able to defend him. Jokic would have kept him in the game. And then Jamal Murray and Gary Harris are 6'5". Those guys are more athletic than Lillard and CJ McCollum. If Denver was in there, at least that thing would probably go 6.
Yeah, you are 100% right on those stats that just like you just said, they are 22-1 coming off of a loss. I'm referring to the Milwaukee team there, and just quite frankly, I'm kind of with like you on this boat. I want the Bucks to hurry up and win just so they have time to rest and heal as well. But I want to touch on your Kawhi stat this past night. He did guard Giannis 2 nights ago. He had 36 points, but he also played a career high 54 minutes in that game, and
Yeah,
just you know it took 2 overtimes for Toronto to beat Bucks 2 nights ago, and just I think that is a recipe for disaster uh,
yeah,
leading up for the rest of this series because now they have to play twice as hard, twice as long, and I think that favors the
yeah,
Bucks in the end because in the overtime, the Bucks can kind of take a easy back. Like if this game were to go into overtime again, they can kind of take a easy back because they do have a 2-1 series lead going back home for 2 more games for sure. Uh,
yeah,
so I'm 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 going to pick the Bucks in this game, simply because Toronto kind of has their backs up against the wall, and I think they're feeling a little overwhelmed right now. They are kind of in the boat that Portland is in.
yeah,
They are giving everything that they got, and it's taken 2 overtimes to beat this team. So
yeah.
I think they're kind of deflated a tad bit. I look for Lopez to have a good game tonight. I think he will be a hero again
Yeah.
tonight in this upset win. He's going to score like 26, 27 points. He's going to have a great third quarter, spreading that lead out to 20 to 25 points, and then the Toronto will chip it away a little bit in the fourth quarter. Uh, but I'm definitely picking the Bucks in this game.
Yeah, where the Bucks sometimes get into trouble, where they got into trouble a little bit yesterday, or excuse, yeah, their last game when they lost to Toronto in overtime. Chris Middleton has to remember that he's an all-star. If Giannis isn't going offensively, the Bucks get in trouble. You got to find that second and third scorer. Malcolm Brogdon did a good job of doing that. And Chris Middleton, he took a crazy three. They tried to end the game. I don't know if you remember it. And he fell down and everything. I mean, he got the shot up and it hit rim, but Chris, you had all the advantage. They were down Lowry. They were down. They lost somebody else. Man, take that to the basket, man. Tie the thing up. Let it go in double overtime. You
Yeah.
have the advantage. Um, yeah, they were down a couple of players. I think they even lost. Did they lose Powell and Danny Green had to come? I'm not sure, but Toronto had lost a few players, and that double overtime, Kawhi Leonard's wearing down. He's getting a little more tired. You have got to just you have got to shoot that. You have got to get your butt to the goal and get an easier buck in there. Chris Middleton took a crazy three, which I mean it's mind-boggling to me. But Milwaukee's got, Chris Middleton has to play like a second All-Star, and you'll be hearing me say that a lot in the next few weeks when they're playing the Golden State, because Golden State can almost take out Giannis just like Toronto did.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as good as Kawhi can do with one person, but they will take out Giannis. Al Horford did it in Game 1. You remember that? And then everybody was like, "Oh man, Celtics are."
Yep.
And then Milwaukee ended up figuring it out because Coach Bud is a hell of a coach, and they made Celtics take a lot of crazy shots, and then Milwaukee has a free flowing offense, so Milwaukee just went ahead and won the next 4 games. That won't happen against the Warriors. Warriors are that good, so that Milwaukee's not gonna just win 4 games in a row on them, obviously. But I think Milwaukee has a chance to win. But you'll be hearing me say that a lot. That Chris Middleton needs to step up in tonight and in the Golden State series. He has got to score on Danny Green tonight or Pascal Siakam. He's got to be hitting his jumpers, turnaround jumpers. He's good in the post now. He's expanded his game. That's why he made the All-Star team this year, and that's why Chris Middleton's going to be in line for over $100 million contract.
Yes.
So he's got to be reminded of that tonight and moving forward, because they need him tonight to win this series. They need Chris Middleton tonight and the rest of the series, and they're going to really need Chris Middleton to match Klay Thompson and those boys in the finals. And I think he's up for the challenge. He's that good of a player.
Yeah. I mean, you are, as always, hitting the nail right on the head there. But let's go ahead and shift gears here to a few teams that are not in the NBA playoffs. We are talking about a little bit of NBA draft. As we found out last Tuesday, the Pelicans did get the number 1 overall pick, Zion. I don't know, like if Zion said this or if his party said this, but he is entertaining the idea of pulling out of the draft and like going back to Duke because he doesn't want to play for the Pelicans. But that was quickly squashed
Yeah.
by Zion like himself. So
Yeah.
the draft order for the top 10 is the Pelicans, and you got the Grizzlies, New York, Knicks, LA Lakers, Cleveland, Phoenix, Chicago, Atlanta, Washington Wizards, and then the Atlanta Hawks. So the Hawks have 8 and 9 picks.
Yeah.
Eighth and the 10th pick, I should say.
Yeah.
Uh, first off, who are your top 10? So, like, if you were picking players in this draft, who would your top 10 be?
Well, New Orleans is going to take Zion Williamson. I'm glad that he and his family made that decision that he's not going to go back in the draft because the draft that doesn't guarantee anything. He could go back and they have the draft again, and goes to Phoenix or he goes back to New Orleans.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't guarantee anything going back in the draft, and he's not a quitter like that. Like I heard also he could just work out for a year, hang out. Nah, he wants to play basketball. You got to play. Start earning your money. I mean, I know he's going to get a big shoe deal, but the shoe deal people want him on the court. So I'm glad his stepdad or grandpa or uncle, somebody squashed that stuff. He's got to play basketball. He'll be just fine in New Orleans. Zion Williamson will go to New Orleans. Memphis will take John Morant. Memphis is bereft of talent. They'll probably going to move off Conley. Conley will go to a contender hopefully, and we'll see Conley in the playoffs. That guy's a good player, Mike Conley. I'd like to see him. It's funny is I mean, these players get stuck in these places and never make the playoffs. I want to see Mike Conley in the playoffs. We'll see how let's see how he does under that kind of pressure in the playoffs. The Knicks will take R.J. Barrett. That's a given. That falls right to them. They'll use R.J. Barrett as a trading piece to attract Anthony Davis, and it could work. We'll see what happens in the Anthony Davis thing. Lakers are taking Darius Garland. He's a Kyrie Irving clone. The Lakers with the 4th pick. Darius Garland is a Kyrie Irving clone. So let's see how LeBron trains and develops, and the Lake organization does that with Darius Garland. If they don't kick Kyrie, I mean, Darius Garland is perfect. And I don't know, they might even take Darius Garland even if they get Kyrie. But that's funny though, because if they're high on Lonzo Ball and they get Kyrie Irving, maybe they move off Darius Garland. And then I would take Culver. But as of right now, I'm picking these without knowing that who's coming to where. You know what I'm saying? So in other words, LeBron James will want to develop Darius Garland into like a Kyrie Irving type. Cleveland, I think they're also bereft of talent. You have to take a guy that's 6'6" that can get his shot off on anybody. That's Jarrett Culver out of Texas Tech. Phoenix will be left with DeAndre Hunter, great defensive player. Phoenix with the 6th pick, perfect spot for DeAndre Hunter to be. Gets to play with Booker and Ayton, and I mean that's a good nucleus right there for him to come in and DeAndre Hunter right away will be taking on the best player every night for the opposing teams, and he can hit open jumpers. Chicago, easy one. Kobe White, North Carolina, 6'4", 6'5" point guard. Chicago will take him. That guy has a motor up and down the court. Kobe White out of North Carolina will go to the Chicago Bulls at 7. At 8th, I see. I think it could be Brandon. That's where the Gonzaga boys come in. The 8th pick with the Atlanta Hawks right there. It's pretty good for Atlanta. You got Hachimura or you got Brandon Clark. I would rather have Brandon Clark. He's a better defender. Atlanta's got a bunch of scorers, and I can get my shooter at 10. So I'm going to go ahead right now. If I'm the Atlanta Hawks, I'm taking Brandon Clark. He's my power forward, maybe even a center in the small ball era. And Brandon Clark can hit open jumpers, and he blocks shots like no other 6'8" guy I've ever seen. And that's maybe even including Ben Wallace. So 9, Washington, Sekou Doumbouya. He's the only one that I haven't seen play out of all these players. They tell me Sekou is, he's 6'9" and can shoot it, handle it. So, and he's supposed to go right around this. You have to take that type of talent. He's the only one. I really can't evaluate him too much because I haven't seen him play. But I heard that he's a hell of a player, 6'9", multidimensional. So I think Washington should take him. And then 10, here you go, Atlanta back again, and I think they'll take Cam Reddish, a shooter. So Atlanta's sitting good. Atlanta just has could take Brandon Clark, their defensive stopper, and then with 10th pick they can take Cameron Reddish, who goes right along with what they're doing with putting shooters all around Trae Young. You got Kevin Huerter, Taurean Prince, and now you got Cameron Reddish to the mix. Then you got your defensive stopper and Brandon Clark from Gonzaga, and to go with Collins, a power forward. Atlanta Hawks are building something here special, and so with two picks, number 8, number 10, that's pretty good. So that's my top 10. I've changed it up a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. But my top 10's factoring in not free agents. I'm not factoring in free agents and what's happening there. These are just how the teams are when if they just stand pat with no free agency skills, no free agents positions, or I'm not doing any trades. So this is just how I would have the draft with the players and how the teams are today.
Yeah, just add to a couple points that you made there. I have seen some stuff that Chicago might be interested in Lazon Ball as well. And like they were offering their 7th overall pick for him. I'm not for sure how true that is, but if that were to happen, and then the Lakers get a 4 and a number 7 overall pick, like that could really change the dynamics of this draft, because then they can take their 4th and 7th pick and they can even jump up to 1 or 2 and then get a Zion or a Ja Morant if they really wanted that. So just kind of throwing that out there.
With that 4th and 7th pick, it's actually they wouldn't get Zion or Ja Morant. What they would do is that's a much more attractive thing now to go to the Pelicans for Anthony Davis.
Okay,
so that's huge. If they were to get the 7th pick, that's huge. That's for the Lakers to end up with the 7th pick also. That might do it. New Orleans might have to take absolutely. New Orleans might have to take that offer.
Yeah, and then just to add to your thoughts here on your top 10, that kid from France, I have not seen him play or heard of him either. I did see a few highlights, and highlights, anybody can look like a all-star, but he looks like he flows and shoots the ball really, really, really well. So I feel like anybody that gets him out of the top 6, that is a steal at that point. Speaking of steals or a sleeper, who would be a steal and or sleeper in this year's pick or draft?
Yeah, like late first round, and maybe you can get a value in the second round. I love a kid at a Belmont named Dylan Windler. 6'7", 6'8". He reminds me a little bit of Joe Ingles, but he's got a better handle on the ball than Joe Ingles. I think he's got a little better vertical. So Dylan Windler is a 6'7", 6'8" out of Belmont, small forward, can shoot the rock, can dribble drive. You can throw him alley-oops. He's a player that I am surprised. I have not seen him. The only place I've seen him is late first round, and sometimes there's some mocks people have him in the second round, which I think this kid, he's gonna easily go in the first round. There's a kid out of Oregon named Lewis King, who's a freshman, who played great in the NCAA tournament. 6'8", can jump out of the gym, and he's hitting threes. Lewis King is a guy like a Trevor Ariza type. So you tell me I can get Trevor Ariza in the late first round, I'm doing it. A 19-year-old Trevor Ariza, absolutely. Those are two of the players. There's a bunch of sleepers that I see. KZ Okpala from Stanford, 6'8". I can't wait to see him if he was to come to the Spurs. And the Spurs would have to take him at 19, but I think he's going higher than that. So that's not necessarily a sleeper. He's a 6'8" kid that can run the floor real well, shoot the basketball, block shots. He's just a dynamic talent. But the person that won the Chicago draft camp for me, the pre-draft camp in Chicago, was a kid named Isaiah Roby out of Nebraska, 6'8". And I've seen some mock drafts of the Spurs have him at number 29. And man, if he could fall to the Spurs at 29, he was dominant in the Chicago draft camp. He had handles that I didn't think. He's a 6'8" kid that can guard any of the positions, can shoot threes. And he's a power forward, but man, he had handles and he was taking it to the basket on the other players there at the Chicago camp. Isaiah Roby made himself a lot of money. I think Jay Billis from ESPN had Isaiah Roby at number 53. Hell no, he's going late first round easily. Isaiah Roby out of Nebraska. So, Michael, that's about 4 players right there that are sleepers. There's plenty more. This draft is it's 1-2, and then the draft to me starts at 3. There's some people say the draft starts at 4. Man, I don't think our RJ Barrett is going to be John Moran or Zion Williamson. I think RJ Barrett is a better version of Rodney Hood.
Yeah.
Maybe a 1 or 2-time All-Star. But I think the draft starts at 3. But after that, I mean, you've got a bunch of players that can play in this league. There's not terrible players in this league. So, this draft's going to be exciting to watch. It's not top heavy, but it's good talent all throughout the draft.
Yeah.
And so there are going to be those sleepers that are going to sneak up and you go, wow, that guy was pretty good. He made an all-star team and he was taken like at 28th or 29th or 30th.
Yeah. And speaking of sleepers here, I want to throw out a kid's name. As much as I hated playing against this kid, watching him play, and he just destroyed us every time we played him. But Grant Williams from Tennessee. This kid, I believe he is projected by most people early to mid second round pick. He is a first round talent. He has a heart of gold. He is a leader on and off the court, and he is in physically shape to compete at the NBA level right now. So any team that I feel he is a top 20 pick. So like any team that picks him up after that 20th pick, they are getting a very good value pick and possibly the biggest steal in the draft. Also, a kid to watch out is Tyler Hero from Kentucky. This kid shoots lights out. He did not have the opportunity to shoot that much in a Kentucky jersey, but in high school, like I believe he was averaging over 35 points a game in a high school game. You know, they play 8-minute quarters there, guys. So that's a total of 32 minutes a game. So basically equivalent to basically a half of college basketball there, give or take a few minutes. He reminds me a lot of Steph Curry and why is this guy's name always slipped my mind? The Golden State guy, Klay Thompson as well. Yeah, he is going to be a great 3-point shooter, and he wants the ball in his hands at the end of the game. Look for Tyler Hero to make a very big splash in the NBA.
Well, let me piggyback off you on that one. You watch the way Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry run through screens?
Yes.
And they just run you ragged and run you all around the places, and that's why they're hard to defend. Tyler Hero does the exact same thing. He will run. Whoever gets him in their program, in their NBA program next year, you can run Tyler Hero off all these different screens. He will stop and pop the 3 in your face or wide open, however it works. Tyler Hero is Reggie Miller like and Richard Hamilton like.
If you guys do not believe him, watch the Kentucky LSU game at LSU. I believe it was early January. You need to watch that game. Tyler Hero is the only reason why the Cats were like in that game. Period. Because the way he balled. Yeah.
And he just doesn't have. He's just not a shooter. Also, so if he's running off the screens, he comes out and he shoots the ball, and somebody went over the top of the screen. He can go right by that person and hit a mid-range jumper or kick it out to another person. Tyler Hero, I don't even think he's much of a sleeper in terms of he's so good, Michael. The way you described him, the way you were talking about him, that guy, he'll end up. I wouldn't be shocked if he went as high as 14 to the Celtics.
Yeah, I believe right now he is projected 20th or 21st to Oklahoma City, so he's out of the top 20 as of right now. Man,
okay. Yeah. Oklahoma, that's what they were lacking. Paul George had to hit 3, or nobody was hitting a 3.
Right.
Nobody came through for them on their 3-point shot. Tyler Hero with OKC, he would take tremendous pressure off of what Russell Westbrook and Paul George by hitting 3s when they're not in the game or they're not hitting right now. Tyler Hero would be a godsend to OKC. I think they'd run that pick up there really fast. I think OKC picks what? They picked 21st. Yeah. Tyler, they would run that card up there. And then your other player, Grant Williams, I like him. My only problem with Grant Williams, he's a 6'6" power forward, and that sounds like he's too short to be the big boys.
Yeah.
But in today's game, that sometimes that doesn't matter. I think Zion Williamson can play the 5. It's almost positionless. PJ Tucker, Draymond Green. Draymond Green plays a 0.5. Like everything runs through him, and then he plays defense as a 5-man. So
he may only be 6'6", but he's probably 260 pounds. I bet. Like he is thick. He's a thick body
No.
guy. Yeah.
And Grant Williams, I mean, he makes all the plays down the end of the stretch. He's like a PJ Tucker. He will make plays down the end of the stretch to win games. Yeah, Grant Williams is a really good talent. He knows how to shoot the ball. He can score on you. I mean, yeah, he's a good player. It's just we'll see we'll see what happens with him. I don't think he has NBA All-Star potential. I think Tyler Hero does, but we'll see what happens. Grant Williams is going to be in the NBA for many years, though.
Yeah, he is. He can easily be the sixth man of the year many times over. Kind of like how James Harden started his career down there at like Oklahoma. You know, like I believe he won the sixth man of the year award twice.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe 3 times, and then he got a great deal with Houston. So like I kind of
I know he won it once, but
yeah. So a team out of the top 10, who do you think is going to want to try to sneak into the top 10 to get their guy to solidify their draft? Do you think there's any team that wants to get in the top 10?
Well, you know, I always take a look at my team of the San Antonio Spurs, and normally that's not the Spurs MO, but they did move up to get Leonard at 15. They went from like 26 to 15 or so. It was pretty. I can't remember, but they moved up to 15, and so they normally don't do that. That's how I knew Kawhi Leonard was pretty good. And they gave away George Hill. If there's a player that they're targeting, they could give up 29 and 19. I don't know if it get in the top 10, but move up into that 12, 13, 14 range and get a player that they want. Usually, when you have that flexibility with draft picks, you can do that. Or you have a player on a rookie contract like a George Hill was. And so the money's not big, and so they could move George Hill and their pick and move to 15 and get Kawhi Leonard like they did in 2011. So you got to have a little flexibility to move up, and sometimes it takes 2 first-round picks to move up. Boston is another one. Boston could package, if they really wanted to, they could package all their picks. I think the Atlanta Hawks would be perfect. If you told the Atlanta Hawks today, hey, you can have 20, 22, and 14, and we want to pick at 10, Atlanta Hawks might do it. I mean, that's a possibility as well. So I haven't heard anybody trying to get in the top 10 right now. There was something interesting you said earlier. Lakers might move Lonzo Ball to get in the top 10 and pick 7. That would be absolutely huge to use in a package deal for Anthony Davis, or even to stand pat. Even if they just wanted to move off Lonzo Ball because they know they're going to draft Darius Garland, and then at 7, they could get Brad Clark, who's a hell of a defensive player and a knockdown shooter. They could get that kid Sekou Doumbouya from France. So yeah, or they can get Cameron Reddish, who's a hell of a shooter. That's probably who I would target at 7. Lakers end up with Darius Garland, and then they basically trade Lonzo Ball for Cameron Reddish. I would do it because LeBron needs more shooters, and Cameron Reddish shoots the ball almost as well as anybody in this draft. So that would be somebody good to move into the top 10. The Lakers getting off that Lonzo Ball like you were talking about.
Yeah, and I could see Philly trying to make their way up into the first round as well. They do have one first round pick, and then they have 4 or 5 second round picks as well. And like they are kind of looking to blow that team up, I think, and then start from scratch to quote unquote trust the process again. So like if they could package 3, if not all 4 of their second round picks to move up into the top 15, 14 even. I mean, I could see them trying to land a big name like that as well. But also on the other hand, just like we've said, this is a very heavy mid-tier draft. So them having all those picks in the 32nd, 33rd, I think 45th pick, I think it is, or some that, and then like toward the very end, like 55th or 54th maybe. They could get 5 really good players in this draft as well.
Right.
So that is a team to look out for in this draft. Like, are they going to stay put, or are they going to try to make moves up?
Right.
That's kind of up in the air. So guys, that is going to be it for today's show. As always, we'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place. Marcus, any closing thoughts before we head out?
No, I can't wait to watch tonight and see how if Kawhi Leonard checks Giannis, he held him to 1 for 9 in the previous game, Game 3. We'll see how this evolves. I see Toronto winning tonight, getting another game, but I want to be wrong. You picked Milwaukee. I want Milwaukee to end this. They're the better overall team. Let's hurry up and end this. Let's get some rest and let's get ready for Golden State for the Milwaukee Bucks. But I don't know. I just somehow I see Kawhi Leonard being who he is, Kobe Bryant slash Michael Jordan slash Dr. J type player, and I see him winning another one at home. But I want to be wrong, man. I want Milwaukee to win this thing.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. And as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow the podcast or wherever you are listening to our forums at. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.
Yeah.